Mr. Chairman, I have 10 a.m. if you'd like to get started.
Now, assuming that my camera turns on at some point here. Can you see me? Crap, my camera's on and I can't see myself. Hold on. Okay, can't access your camera. I'm going to log off and log back on.
Yeah, no problem. We'll wait a couple of extra minutes.
Okay, apologies.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Rodney. We're just waiting a couple extra minutes for Lance. He had to log off and log back on to his camera. So we'll get started here momentarily.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, all.
Morning, Bruce. Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, Paul, I'm back and my camera is not working. Is there a workaround for this? Do I need to call in or?
Lance, it's okay. We know you're on the line, so we'll go with it as a quorum.
Okay. Well, good morning. It's the 19th of August at 10:02 a.m. 2 minutes late due to Lance's problem with Teams. So we'd like to call the Veteran Affairs Advisory Committee to order. Mr. Albright, can we have a roll call, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning. As stated, 19 August, this is a monthly meeting of the Veteran Affairs Advisory Committee. Committee members are reminded to always keep your camera on at all times so that we can ensure we maintain a quorum. Keep your mics muted unless speaking. For those that are visiting, our guests, please always keep your camera off and your mic muted unless you are asked to speak. So if you are a guest, keep your cameras off and your mic off until you are asked to speak. Remember that this is being live streamed. It is also being uploaded to YouTube, so professionalism at all times. With that, I'll start the roll call. We'll start with District 1, Victor Casas. District 1, Victor Casas. Victor Casas is not present. District 2, Ron Jackson. District 2, Ron Jackson. I don't see Ron Jackson. He's not present. District 3, Rodney Washington.
Present. Good morning.
District 4, Jonathan Bohannon.
Present.
District 5, Laura Butler.
Present.
District 6, Bruce Beagle.
Present.
District 7, Justin Roddy.
Present.
District 8, Melissa Harcrow.
Present.
Our mayoral appointee, Lance Lear.
Present.
All right, Mr. Chairman, you do have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you, Paul. We'll start out with the discussion with the Workforce Solutions Borderplex CEO, Mrs. Lila Melendez. Do we have Ms. Melendez online?
I'm right here. Just turned on my mic. How are y'all?
Excellent, thank you.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
You want me to just dive in?
Please go ahead and dive right in. That's what we want you to do.
Okay, great. All right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's great to see you all. I'm Layla Melendez. I'm the CEO of Workforce Solutions Borderplex. I want to thank you all for inviting me today to share with you a few points about just a reminder for those of you that aren't familiar with who we are and share with you all of the services that we provide to our veterans community, our transitioning service members, and military spouses. So I want to thank you all for the invite again, and I want to recognize Michael Velez, who is a really sharp-dressed guy on Teams this morning. He's got a nice jacket and suit, not going for the business casual Friday like everybody else is, including me. So thank you, Michael, for being here. Michael is our military specialist at the Workforce Board. And I also want to give a shout out to Bruce Beagle. Bruce Beagle is a member of our board of directors representing the Texas Veterans Commission. And so I want to thank him as well for his leadership and support. And then I also want to give just a brief shout out to Jose Solis. I saw his name in the chat, and I think he's at the city of El Paso doing the behind the scenes work. So I've worked with Jose in the past when I was at the city in a past life. So it's good to see even his name and know that he's there. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and go into a slide deck. Okay, so are you all able to see this?
I can certainly see it.
Okay, great. Awesome. So I'm going to go through these and just, again, like I mentioned, talk a little bit about what we do. So first and foremost is Workforce Solutions Borderplex. We are a local extension of the Texas Workforce Commission. We are a standalone nonprofit organization and one of 28 workforce boards in the state. So we consider ourselves part of a network and a partner of the Texas Workforce Commission. And although we are a standalone nonprofit, we are governed by a federal legislation, which is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We are the re-employment office, not the unemployment benefits office, although we assist and we refer folks. So unemployment benefits are under TWC, but our office is not specifically where folks come and file for that, although we do offer, like I said, some support. Workforce Solutions is the American Job Center. So the centers and the offices that we have is to provide employment and re-employment services to our population. What we do and how we do it is a business-driven model. We have our mission and our focus is to be market-driven. We are responsive to the changing needs of employers and businesses and the different industries that they represent. So we know exactly what our role is, and we follow where the jobs are going. We are industry cluster focused. We form partnerships that foster growth and development and support of target industry clusters that are relevant to our region and our community. And then we also target our training resources. We have funds available, but it's not a never-ending bucket. It has to be spent very wisely on every year. We're very careful and mindful about where we spend our funds. So we focus our funds towards those high growth, high demand occupations, emerging occupations, and occupations that have a significant impact on the local economy. So this means that sometimes we have to make difficult decisions on where not to spend money on training and really channel our training dollars and all of our resources where we get the biggest bang for our buck that's going to move the needle for our region. This is just a quick snapshot of some of the partners that we work with. It's actually a much larger list now, but it gives you an idea. We work with and partner with everybody, the local government organizations, the education system, the private sector with the chambers of commerce, the childcare system, including our partners at the Y, and then other community-based organizations that serve certain specific populations. So we are collaborators and partners with everybody in the region. And where necessary, we take a lead and we take a front seat and we drive. And in other cases, we follow. We support partners that do the work the best for their population, and we support. So we are able to be that agile, sometimes taking the wheel, sometimes sitting in the back and supporting. If there was ever a way to do a mission statement in a graph, we figured out a way to do that. This is basically our mission statement. And it might be a little hard on your screen to see the numbers, but you can see the difference in the colors. This is our quartiles of all of the occupations in our region. We have grouped them into major occupational categories. So you can see at the very top, you've got healthcare, and then at the bottom, you've got other occupations like groundskeeping. So we've organized all of the occupations into these categories, and then we captured the number of people that are working in those occupations. And then we have what the median earnings are for those occupation groups. And then we've sorted it by highest to lowest of those median earnings. So you can see the top group is those occupations that are the highest earning. The light color at the bottom is those that are the lowest earnings. So we've cut this off into fours, and we refer to this as our quartile. So we know which occupations are in which quartile. What is stunning to us, and like I said, what is our mission, is that we've documented and we've calculated exactly how many people are where. 70% of our workforce, which is over 200,000 workers, work in the bottom half earning jobs. So the 30% of us work in the upper and high quartile earning occupations. So our mission statement is to move people from the bottom to the top. It's as simple as that. With all of our resources, our programs, our training dollars, we are trying to create pathways to move folks from those entry-level, low-wage occupations and into the highest. This chart here compares us to where we are with the state. And in those cases, and in some cases we are higher, most of those cases we are higher, and higher on the lower quartiles. And so this is where, again, we have to do quite a bit of work. But this is, in a nutshell, this is what we do with our resources and with our funds. So the services that we offer to job seekers, anybody can access them. We provide universal services to everybody. We have a job board called Work in Texas. We do career and skills matching. We let folks know based on their skills and their talents and interest where they might have success in finding a job. We help them get that job. We also prepare them and we upskill them and get them ready for that next step and getting into that job with some job readiness services. We offer then specialized services for people that qualify, and some of these are based on different criteria, and we assign a career navigator to them. So we guide and coach for successful employment. We provide follow-up services for up to a year. We may enroll them into some training programs and do customized career plans. We provide those training scholarships for jobs that are on our hot jobs list. Again, this is coming back to that decision of we're not going to support or pay for training in everything that a person might want. We try to identify those occupations and skills that are going to be of relevance to our region and can be on a successful pathway for that person. And then we also can do paid work experience for short-term transitions to give people experience into a job or into an industry. And then those support services can go even into paying for certification, testing, tools, uniforms, childcare, fuel, interview attire, and even bonding and liability insurance for those that need it for their employment. So it's pretty expansive. We can go from basics, just let's clean up your resume, all the way to paying for some of the things that you might need to start a job. So who exactly qualifies for those specialized services? any of the criteria, the following criteria would make a person eligible. When it comes to adults, if they meet certain income eligibility guidelines, but there are other ways to qualify that are not income relevant. If they're affected by a layoff, if anybody in the household receives government assistance, if they are a transitioning soldier, veteran, or military spouse, or if you are a youth between the ages of 14 to 24 and have some employment barriers. And then we have other ways to define what those barriers are. So a lot of people, based on these types of things, do qualify for those specialized services. So some of the goals that we have for our programs is to complete training successfully, enter employment in that field of study. What we have found is that a lot of times people go into training and then they end up, you know, in a job that's not what they studied for because they maybe didn't like it or they just never found a pathway out. And then to retain that employment long term. So that's in a nutshell what we do. I'm happy to answer any questions. And I've put in here, I didn't give you my number, I gave you Michael's number. So if you have any questions or anything that you need specific help with, Michael is happy to help, but I'm also obviously available to you and happy to help as well. But there's his contact information. He's on the team this morning. Send him a chat, but happy to answer any questions. And I'll stop sharing.
Really quick, good morning, everybody. I'd like to also just add what it is we're doing with Fort Bliss, our veteran community, and everything involved in that. It's a pretty wide scope, and we've been able to go ahead and retrieve some training for, again, transitioning service members, military spouses who are currently doing a phlebotomy course with Western Tech, as well as an IT certification with CompTIA and our veterans. So, that's just a small scale of what we are capable of providing, an opportunity for these different classes of service members and their families, of course.
Bruce, you have a question?
It's more of a statement than a question. I want to point out the fact that our office on Fort Bliss is the only workforce office on a military post in the country. The Borderplex Alliance actually uses that fact when they are trying to bring employers to El Paso that the workforce has access to every transitioning soldier leaving Fort Bliss, which is roughly over 9,000 a year. So I think that's something that shows the dedication and drive and the fact that workforce really is focusing on veterans and we really appreciate that from Layla and obviously the rest of the board that has allowed that to happen.
So Layla and Michael, this is Lance. So this chart is the eye popper I've been looking for a long time. That is a nutshell of El Paso's employment issues. It is just a nutshell. That is awesome. Are you sharing this with people?
Yes, we share it with everyone, and anybody that wants to see and is a fan of charts and graphs, we do that. So we do share it. We've presented to the Chambers of Commerce, our education partners, and it's basically like it's our North Star. It's what we do. Something that's really important is we started collecting this data in 2018, and then during COVID. We were updating this data as live as possible. We were seeing record number of people on unemployment. We get all of that data. So we were updating it, like I said, every month. And what was very frightening to us in that moment was I pictured our economy as a two-engine plane. So, when you look at that chart and 70% of our workers work below the line or below the middle in those lowest paying jobs. During COVID, 70% of those filed for unemployment. So one engine went completely out during COVID. And that was, critical for us to respond very quickly. We were telling our staff, we are economic first responders. We have got to help our people get jobs, get back on their feet as soon as possible. And we remain on that mission today. So, this is a very good one image mission statement for us because we can capture that data and update it really real time and know exactly how we are moving the needle, literally moving folks from the bottom to the top. So thank you for that. And it is very helpful to illustrate who we are in this community.
And I'd follow up with Michael. How are we doing on Fort Bliss? And Bruce can answer this question too. How are we doing? How are we capturing? One of the main problems we have is that though we have a very large population of transitioning veterans, we're capturing about 15% of them. And places like, oh, let's just use Fort Sill are, above 50%. How are we doing with our veterans, and what can this group do to help to insist or assist our veterans that are transitioning to get into this program, or who are just veterans and vets?
So we definitely are, starting with our hub location, partnered with the Transitional Assistant Program, I think has been a vital step in creating that outreach and providing this information and data to the transitioning service members themselves so they understand and see what is ahead of them, what they can plan for, what they can look at and start considering. So we've definitely, Transitioning Assistance Program, the TAP process is something we've become a part of, as well as integrating with ACS and USO on base, just reaching out to those families, to those transitioning service members, the veterans that go to, Fort Bliss having questions is our main approach. And we're slowly, growing as Bliss is growing, as everyone knows, it's spreading, and these programs and certifications, it's really getting through to the different parties, the spouses, the families, even the youth, is something I've started to look at because, those that are graduating in high school and are here in El Paso with their families, they're staying here for a while, and sometimes, as we know, it's a huge change, and being able to provide those resources and the accessibility to certifications is how we're approaching them, and of course considering different circumstances on everyone's side, the different cases that come up with the soldiers, just being agile and able to adjust to those needs.
Excellent.
And
well, you can certainly
Lance,
look forward to a call from me. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, one of the things that we have definitely, I find when I'm talking to soldiers and I'm transitioning out, if the spouse has a good job in El Paso, there's a much greater chance of that family staying in El Paso. That's one of the reasons. Obviously, the spouses need, a lot of them need employment. So working with ACS that the board is doing, those are some critical things. The other piece that the Transition Services is doing, there's a career skills programs, our various training that is available for transitioning service members. Fort Bliss is one of the few locations that allows workforce to put veterans into empty slots in those classes. So it is also a reciprocal agreement, workforce is supporting transition services. So transition services is supporting workforce. So it really is a good symbiotic relationship there between transition services, and Doug Piltz, who runs it, allows that to happen. And that doesn't happen at all posts. Some of them, nope, if you're not transitioning service, you don't get into the program. So it's those type of things. And then when people in the program, even if they're going somewhere else, they're talking to veterans from the community. So that's a positive right there to try to get them, hey, there are jobs here in El Paso, stay here. So it's that all that marketing we've been talking about, that needs to continue, and to point out that to the service members while they're in, before they get out, that there are jobs available in El Paso. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. And Lala, Michael, the Red, White, and You job fair coming up. We'll definitely cover that. Thank you for this briefing. I am certainly going to get in touch with you. And I would tell you that if you have a one-pager, something simple that can go out on social media, please send it to Mr. Albright to be placed on our social media pages with the city, and to maybe get to some areas that you haven't got to.
All right.
We have no further questions, so thank you so much for briefing us. We really appreciate it.
All right,
And
thank
we'll
you all.
move
It's great
on
to see you.
number 4, which is discussion and action to approve minutes.
Thank you, Leo.
If you would, since I was a tardy boy on our last meeting and Bruce ran it, Bruce, you want to take this? And I don't want to vote on minutes that I wasn't at. You're muted, brother.
Anybody have any questions or concerns? Paul sent them out several days ago. So any questions or concerns? One other thing I do recommend, a good use of the minutes is you send them to your rep, your city rep. You personally send it to your city rep. And if there's anything in there you'd like to highlight, you put that in the body of your email. So just a good idea. So apparently there is no questions or concerns with the minutes. So Lance, I motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Albright, please call the roll.
At District 1, if you approve, say aye. Victor
Not present.
Casas. No, he's on. Victor
Is he on?
Casas, if
Excellent.
you approve, please say aye or nay.
I'm sorry, I was having a hard time hearing you guys. What exactly are we approving for?
The minutes, if you approve or disapprove of the minutes
Oh,
from
all right.
last meeting.
All right.
All right, District 2, Ron Jackson, did you come on yet? No, not yet. District 3,
Aye.
District 4.
Aye.
5,
Aye.
6,
Aye.
7,
Aye.
8,
Aye.
and mayoral, Chairman,
Aye.
and the minutes have passed unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Remember, any of those questions, you can call up to Paul or you can send a note to your subcommittees, maintaining, of course, no rolling quorum. We'll move on to the citizen comment period, which individuals are limited to 3 minutes. We can ask questions, but no specific action. Mr. Albright, do we have citizen comments today?
We do. We have 2 personnel signed up. The first one being John Martin from the Opportunity Center. Sir, you may go ahead and begin. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak to each of you. I'd like to update you on 2 different initiatives. At a previous meeting, I told you about the construction of the new Veterans Transitional Living Center that is going to be taking place on the 800 block of McGoffin Avenue. I wanted to give you an update on that. We have raised approximately 60% of the funds that are needed for the construction of that program, so we're still in the fundraising phase. However, we anticipate breaking ground in the September-October timeframe. It has been delayed somewhat because the property sits in an area that has a historical overlay. And so we just recently completed an archaeological dig on the property, and the results will be forwarded to the state of Texas for review. But we'll continue to keep you updated. The second initiative has to do with the opening of the new Welcome Center. I see Justin on there at this point. Justin, it's going to bring back dreams and nightmares of days past, okay? As we work through this, the Welcome Center opened on the 1st of August. We have been in operation now for 19 days. We have served 133 unique clients, and we have not done a grand opening as of yet. We're working on a soft opening. We have seen a handful of veterans that have come through our doors. The Welcome Center is a concept that presented itself at the height of the pandemic, but it was forced by the pandemic at this point. It was considered to be a very promising practice, predominantly thanks to the work of ourselves, the Opportunity Center, and Endeavors, and the city has found a way to permanently replicate it. We do have partners, which include Endeavors, United Way of El Paso County, Project Amistad, as we work through this. But it's meant to be a central point of intake for all homeless within the community. And it's proved to be very successful. And we're working with different community partners to include the Coalition for the Homeless. We met with them this past week so that we can sort of basically work a little bit better together. I don't know if anybody has questions at this point.
Thank you, sir. I feel you on the state requirements there. It's never easy to do a darn thing when it comes to that. And I'm really happy to see that you've got 60% of the funding built. That's fantastic. Anything that happens for our veterans, that's a great thing.
I will tell you, they found two things in the dig, one of which is a wall with a piece of PVC tubing going through it. So I don't think that's of historical significance. And the other one is a crumbling rock wall. So we'll see what the state says about that. Okay.
Well, I think that's probably a fairly normal thing. Okay. Excellent. Any questions from the group, please? Well, thank you, sir. Great update. And I'm hoping that you can swag the funds and get that transitional center built. It'll be a great use to the community. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, we got one. Rodney.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Rodney Washington, TVC, District 3 Rep. Sir, the question was, I'm sorry, I missed it when you said how much money is still needed? How much funding do you still need for your project?
The project itself is approximately 2.7 million. We have raised 60% of the funds. So if you do some quick math, 270 times 4, I need just a little over $1 million to be able to finish it. I will be the first one to tell you that due to the pandemic, now is the wrong time to build. The price before the pandemic, when we priced it out, was just a little under 2 million. So that'll show you the increase as a result of the pandemic. And so that's where we're at. So just a little over $1 million is left at this point. And if you've got the ability to write a check, I'll give you our address and we'll be a happy person at this point.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll put it in the mail today. It's no problem. That's easy.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you much. Okay.
Okay. With no other questions, thank you for the update. Very, 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 very good to hear. Thank you so much.
All right, we now have Diane Vega from Repatriate Our Patriots. Diane Vega, if you're on the line, you have 3 minutes. You may begin speaking. Diane Vega, are you on the line?
I don't see her, Paul, but my eyesight's not what it used to be.
Yeah, okay, I don't see her anymore either. So that's all that is signed up for citizens comment.
Thank you. Thank you to the Opportunity Center. That was a very good, concise update. And very happy that the community is coming together to work on that. So we'll move to item number 6, which is the El Paso VA Healthcare Clinic update. Mr. Garza, are you online?
Yes, sir. I am here this morning. Thank you, Paul, for the invite. I'm happy to jump on this meeting and be a part of this Veterans Advisory Council moving forward, and looking forward to giving the team a quick update. So just a little bit about me, since I'm about getting close to about 50 days into the role. Again, my name is Froy Garza. I'm the new director for the El Paso VA Healthcare System here at the Southwest region, which includes Las Cruces, New Mexico as well. Still meeting a lot of folks in the community and around the area, so I appreciate everybody being very accommodating and helpful with my transition. Just a little bit about me. I did grow up down in the McAllen, Texas area, so I am a border kid. Went to school down there as well. My family remains down in the McAllen area till this day. I've worked across Texas in various VA systems, including over in Miami more recently. And now I'm here in El Paso helping with this organization. I can tell you I'm really excited about our potential and all of our recruitment efforts and expansion plans for this region. So as we get more into that, be happy to share a little bit more about that in the future. So a couple of quick important updates that I wanted to share with the team this morning. First and foremost, which is the Pact Act, which many of you may be very familiar with at this point. So this truly is a historic new law that expands VA healthcare and benefits for veterans exposed to burn pits and other toxic substances. So essentially what it does is it expands and extends eligibility for VA healthcare for veterans with toxic exposures and veterans of the Vietnam era, Gulf War era, post 9/11 combat veterans. And it also adds more than 20 new presumptive conditions for burn pits and other toxic exposures. This is great. It also adds more presumptive locations for Agent Orange and radiation exposure. And so we're also going to be working on rolling out a large communication and outreach plan so that we can, get more information out to our veterans and their survivors as well. So one thing I did want to mention is that we currently are encouraging veterans and survivors to apply now for their Pact Act benefits because these conditions have already taken a serious toll on so many veterans and their families. We're considering all conditions established in the Pact Act to be presumptive on August 10th, and the date, which is the date the bill was signed into law by the president. So as of today, the VA will begin processing those claims and benefits beginning January 1st. So any veteran or survivor can learn more about the Pact Act by visiting va.gov/PACT, PACT, or calling the 1-800-MY-VA-411 number. So I'm going to share my screen really quick if I can. The website for this legislation is very extensive. And you'll see on here that it's very simple, kind of walks you through the main points here. If you have any specific questions, it has that number that I just mentioned. It also has the links to submit disability claims online, to apply for VA healthcare, and then it gets down and dirty with some of the specifics, with some of the changes, what it means to have a presumptive condition, and it gets into a little bit more detail on eligibility, how to obtain those benefits, information for survivors, and more. So there is a lot of information within this legislation, not only on burn pits and toxic exposures, but there's also some really nice new flexibility when it comes to VA and our recruitment flexibilities there. Also wanted to mention, as many of you may be aware, is the new Veterans Crisis Line, which is 988 and then press 1. So this new shorter number took effect July 16th, 2022, and directly addresses the need for ease of access and clarity in times of crisis for both veterans and non-veterans alike. So this change is part of the National Suicide Hotline Designation Act of 2020, which designated 988 as a universal telephone number within the U.S. for purposes of the National Suicide Prevention and Mental Health Crisis Hotline System. So any veteran or their family members or anyone experiencing a crisis can dial 988 and then press 1 and be connected with our team. And what you'll see here on the screen is if you click on any of our websites in va.gov websites, you'll see that little red banner up here. If you click on that, it'll tell you exactly, some of the information for 24/7 access, that shorter number, and then select 1 to be connected with a professional. There's also a text option, a confidential chat option, and then of course, hearing impaired options there as well. With that, I wanted to kind of mention before I wrap up this morning that we do have in the works a upcoming hiring fair that will be hosted here on campus at our 5001 Piedras facility, where we're going to be recruiting for and providing on-the-spot offers for a lot of open positions that we have here at the organization. This is going to be September 10th, and it will be from 9 to 1 p.m. And so we'll be getting more information out to all of our community members and stakeholders on that as well. And with that, I'll shut up and answer any questions that the team may have.
Okay, team, what questions do you have? I don't see any hands going up, so Froy, thank you. Welcome. I hear all kinds of great things. I haven't had the chance to speak directly with you, but my question, which I'll then select Bruce to ask, my question is, how is the new center design build going, sir?
Thanks, Paul. And that is a burning question, right, that we all have. So as it stands today, we anticipate the design for that project to be awarded in early FY23. We're hopeful that it will be in about the October-November timeframe. So as soon as that award for design is processed, then we'll be able to have our teams start digging deep into our design for that particular project. So we're really looking forward to that first initial step, and then it'll progress from there.
And sir, is it still going to be design build? Is that still the plan, or are we going with just design and then build?
It is design build. Yes, sir.
Excellent. That's I can't say enough about that. Mr. Beagle.
That was the same question, Lance. Thank you.
Mr. Washington.
Hi, Mr. Garza. I'm Rodney Washington, TVC. Pleasure, sir. Welcome to your new position. Sir, I just had a question about, I understand that it's going to be a hiring fair. Is it possible, sir, if we can have resources there to help take advantage of educating people on the various resources to include this committee and maybe like Texas Veterans Commission, maybe the Workforce Solutions Board of Plex? Is there a way for us to have various resources there, just to be there, just to say, hey, did you know that these different agencies exist?
I'm sure that is something we can work out. So I'll be happy to, if you want to maybe plug in your email in the chat box, Rodney, I'll be happy to forward it to my team and we can reach out and see what we can work out.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. I don't see any questions. Again, thank you and welcome, Froy. We've been looking forward to getting you on here. Your office and your team has been on spot and on here every month, I think. I got a question, Mr. Beagle.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on what Rodney said and invite Mr. Garza and his team to the hiring Red, White, and You that will be held on the 15th of November. So please, sir, have your team join that effort also. Again, welcome to El Paso. Thank you.
Happy to. Thank you. Yeah, I know you guys have been very welcoming, and I'm looking forward to the partnership. Also wanted to mention, the Pact Act process. We're going to be depending heavily on a lot of our veteran service organizations to help process these initial claims. So I know that Mr. Dwyer and company are going to be very busy here very soon. So we look forward to partnering with Carl and on making sure that our veterans get what they need in this area.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time and welcome to El Paso. So we'll move on to number 7, El Paso Veterans Assistance Program Manager. Amazingly, Mr. Dwyer, would you update us, please, sir?
Yes, good morning, Lance. Mr. Chair and fellow FAB members. Good morning and happy Veterans Day to you all. Great to see you all. Well, Mr. Garza, he's spot on because he stole about 90% of my thunder that I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the Pact Act also because that is huge. And it is causing a lot of good news and a lot of work out there in our community, but it's great news for our veterans. So please continue to educate as many of our veterans and surviving spouses as possible on this monumental legislation that has just passed, the presumptive conditions that he talked about. The only thing I'd ask also what we're seeing in the VSO world, it has brought out those seeking to also take advantage of veterans who may not be educated on the claims process, what they're entitled to, especially when it comes to presumptive. So we ask for your help in educating those out there that are seeking to submit claims. We do expect the amount of claims to increase dramatically. I'm going to share a link in the chat because one thing we want to do is make sure that veterans are working with accredited, trained, educated organization when it comes to filing claims. You got people on every corner that claim they know how to file proper documented claims, but that's not the case. So the link I'm providing to you is where veterans can go to do an accreditation search. You can search by attorney, different claims agents, and also VSO representatives. Put the name, the location, zip code, and a list that the VA says, hey, these are people that we trust that you should go to get your claims adjudicated, to be done correctly and documented. If they're not on that list, I'd be leery about approaching them to do a claim. So please help us spread that word. Also, if you want to come see us, we're too strong over here. We're ready to 915-875-8570. Please press extension 1. We do like to work by appointments, but we're here to help everybody and answer questions. If we don't know the answer, we'll try to get the answer for you. Second thing I have, I don't want to steal too much of Mrs. McCrae's thunder, but the Veteran of the Year nominations have been extended until 15 September. The deadline was approaching next week, but we haven't got the submissions of the number that we'd like to have. So please, if you know great veterans out there doing great things, we're going to give you about another 2.5 weeks to go ahead and sit down and write those award nominations and get them into us so we can have a good selection pool to come up with a Veteran of the Year for 2022 to 2023. We're also planning a Veteran Caregiver Summit in October. So please mark your calendars for 6 October at 10 o'clock. The county, in collaboration with the VA, in collaboration with Social Security Administration, lawyers, we're going to hold a Caregiver Summit at the Escarte Park Pavilion, the El Paso County Escarte Park Pavilion. It's going to be from 10:00 to 2 o'clock. We're going to provide refreshments, breakfast, lunch, and also you've got a lineup of speakers that are going to go over pre-planning needs, the cemetery administrations, the VA. We're just going to have a slew of folks come out to make sure and address a lot of the things that we're seeing in our community. Next thing I want to talk about is jury duty donations. We all love jury duty. You may get selected for jury duty, but did you know that if you get selected for jury duty, you can elect to have your jury duty salary dedicated to veteran services? All right, so please help us spread that word. When you pull jury duty, if you say you support veterans, prove it. Give us your money. So check that jury donation button on that selection card. It will route to the El Paso County Veterans Office. And we plan to use those funds for things like food vouchers for veterans, transportation vouchers, bus vouchers, marketing, advertising, emergency lodging, hotel vouchers, and things that our TBC grant won't allow us to do. So again, when you're in there pulling jury duty, if you want to support the veteran community, just check that box and you're $7 that day. Instead of going to Starbucks, you can send it to us so we can use it to take care of some veterans out there. So, Mr. Chair, subject to that, again, happy Veterans Day from the El Paso County Veteran Service Office. I please ask y'all to follow us on Facebook, El Paso County Veteran Service Office, and have a great day.
Well, I saluted Carl, but my camera's not working. So just so you know. Hey, any questions for Carl? Wow, Carl, you're so succinct and direct that there's not a single question. But I like the phrase, give us your money. That's a good thing. I need to use that a little bit more. Thank you, Mr. Dwyer. Appreciate your time, energy, and what you're doing at the county. So we'll move on to number 8, which is community updates. And we'll start with the esteemed teammate and chair of our Veterans Advisory Board at the county, Ms. Alexis McCrae.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Veterans Day. So just to start off, the Veteran of the Year nominations are extended to the 15th of September. And with that, we are going to be having the county resolution be done on October 31st during Commissioner's Court. And the Veteran of the Year ceremony is going to be taking place on the 1st of November at 10 a.m. And that will be at the El Paso County Courthouse as well. So please join us in celebrating and welcoming our 2023 Veteran of the Year. And the next Veterans Advisory Board meeting is going to be on September 13th, 1 p.m. And that will be at the El Paso County Courthouse as well in Suite 301, or you will be able to stream the meeting on YouTube. But I do invite everybody to attend if you do have the time. And the last thing that I have is this weekend, the Military Order of World Wars is having their monthly meeting, but at their meeting, they are honoring 80 and 90-year-old veterans. So that meeting is taking place, well, lunch starts at 11 and the meeting starts at noon. However, it is at Applebee's that is on 1985 George Streeter. And that is all I have, subject to your questions.
And any questions, team? Well, thank you, Alexis, and thank you for working so well with the city, and the city and county are doing great things. Thank you for your help and assistance, and thank you for showing up and doing your thing. Appreciate it very much. We'll move on to El Paso Coalition for the Homeless, and that's Ms. Castillo. Ms. Castillo, are you on?
Yes, sir, I am here. Good. Happy Friday, everybody. Glad to see everybody. So just kind of wanted to give an update. We continue to meet Friday. We've and so address, some data issues. We, as you may remember, there's 4 benchmarks, and I'll kind of go over them and kind of give you an update of what those benchmarks look like. So the first benchmark, so we're meeting, well, let me start off by saying we've really worked closely with the VA April, May, June, July to really fine tune the data. That data looks really good. It's the best it's ever looked like. So it looked, and so we're really happy about that. So now we're going to look at what other, because it's all data driven, these benchmarks. So the first benchmark is, have you ended chronic and long-term homelessness among veterans? And so we haven't been able to meet that benchmark. And so there's some exemption groups. For those chronically homeless veterans that have been offered a permanent housing intervention and they continue to say no, right? And we're tracking that. Those are those exemptions I'm talking about. And then there's one section of that benchmark where where chronically homeless veterans have said yes, but it's taking more than 90 days to get them housed. So we kind of have to look at, dig deeper into the data as to why that is. And so we haven't met that benchmark. The second benchmark is, do veterans have quick access to permanent housing? So it's taking an average, don't forget, this is a 90-day look back window, right? So it's looking back from, I'm looking at the master list from last Friday, it's looking back to May 21st, right? And so it's taking on average 51 days to house a veteran. And so we really need to, I think, one of the processes is I think HUD-VASH is a little bit of a factor. We've been working with the Housing Authority to see how we can make those adjustments in that system to increase that or decrease that number of days that it's taken out. But on the flip, we are able to meet that benchmark. So that it's a complicated macros in the spreadsheet itself, and so we are able to meet that benchmark. We just want to make a little bit of improvement on 51 days. I think a couple of months ago it was 35 days. So we really want to work on that. The next benchmark is does the community have sufficient permanent housing capacity? And so that's a no. So the total number of veterans, looking back again, 90 days, is 60 veterans were permanently housed, right? And then so you got that inflow, right? And so that is so it needs to be reversed, right? So the outflow should be higher than the inflow. And so I think that's where we're having issues with that, the length of time that it takes to get somebody housed. And so it's really affecting that. And so we really want to, again, really dig deeper on why we're not able to meet that benchmark. And the last benchmark is a community committed to housing first and provide service intensive transitional housing to veterans. And so, yes, so we are able to meet that benchmark. I think most of you guys know our community as pretty much as a whole have really lowered barriers for anybody experiencing homelessness, in this case, veterans, in being able to get into a permanent housing situation. So anyway, so that's kind of what the status is. As of last Friday, we will be meeting again this afternoon. As of last Friday, we had 78 veterans who are homeless, 42 are in shelters, and 36 are unsheltered. And we've seen a really increase of veterans come into the system and just really leaving without any type of interview, right? So they just leave. And the VA doesn't know where they're, the program managers don't know. And so it's just and that happens, right? But it's been a really higher number than we've seen before. And so we really want to see how we can, be able to make an impact on that number as well. It might be challenging, but we're having those discussions. Does anybody have any questions?
Ms. Harcrow.
Hi, Camille.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, so my question is, since I think it's the opportunity, I don't know if it's the Opportunity Center's Welcome Center, have you seen any kind of difference, or do you anticipate a difference in housing veterans?
With the Welcome Center?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Unfortunately, I mean, and we're trying to really work together. We don't see Welcome Center data because they're not using HMIS. So there's that. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So with those people in the Welcome Center, they don't use HMIS. So that affects your ability to track those veterans and get them housed.
Yeah, I think, hopefully we can have some more discussions with Mr. Martin as Mr. Martin and the VA to maybe see how we can flow those veterans. I understand for Mr. Martin, it's not a high amount right now, but, to be able to incorporate them into the spreadsheet.
Okay,
So,
yeah, and I know, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yes, and I know he said that they met with you all recently. So.
Yeah, they.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Awesome. Thank you, Camille.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
I was answering a text. It's great to see you, Camille.
Likewise.
The only question I have is do you see why? Is there the why as far as the numbers going up and fairly significantly, actually, based on the the numbers themselves? Do you see a why in there?
No, we don't see a why. Part of, I think the initial approach, it doesn't matter why, we just need to help them and serve them. I think there's enough monies in the community that, to address veteran homelessness. It's just a matter, and it's challenging to tidy up, if you will, those processes and make them a quicker process. And so we're not seeing a why. We see, veterans who are in and out of the system over a period of time, right? We see those. We see new veterans from that are not from here. And so that I looked at that as far as I looked at that intensely a couple of weeks ago. And so new veterans that are new to the community, that was 11%. So that was a little bit high. And then we are seeing some veterans that are having challenges with employment. And so we're trying to really look at that and utilize the programs and systems that we have in place and to make sure that they're flowing into if that's the route that the veteran is wanting to go. So that's just a little bit of what I saw. I was looking at those numbers a couple of weeks ago, and so that's basically what I saw.
Okay, and it wasn't about, I mean, it is all about helping them. It's not about the why. It's about what we're doing.
Absolutely.
But sometimes the why is helpful to understand the trend in order to get ahead of the trend. So thank you. I think Mr. Washington's hand was up before Mr. Dwyer.
Lance, the only thing I'd like to add, what we're seeing over here at the county, No, I'm not on the back, but I would like to give the 2 cents from the county perspective. What we're seeing, the cost of living, as everybody knows, is really, really going up. Rents have increased here in El Paso County. Mortgages, everybody knows the deal going on with the appraisal system. So we experienced a huge amount of veterans coming to our office that are dealing with the challenge of their monthly living expenses going way up. We have a grant again for financial assistance for those veterans experiencing hardships, so please send them our way. But what we also are seeing is that grant probably won't make it throughout this fiscal year because the amounts that we're seeing and what we're currently issuing in vouchers is extremely high. So second point I'd make, going back to claims assistance, because we do see claims assistance as a form of economic development and economic impact, because if a veteran does file a disability claim and is service connected, then that's an increase of their monthly income and compensation that's going to be coming in. So whatever we can do to help them, please send them our way. But, as far as the why, piece of the why, the cost of living is really going up, and it's going up a lot here in El Paso.
Agreed, Carl. Well said, sir. Mr. Washington.
Yes, sir. Hi, Camille. I just want to let you know, ma'am, that with the stand down happening on September 16th, I was able to get some employers that will be at that event. So per your yes, I just want to give you a heads up on that there will be some agencies there that will be looking to help homeless veterans find employment.
That is wonderful to hear. Absolutely. Hopefully, we can get some veterans tied into employment services.
Yes.
I know that Housing Authority is going to be there. And so that is the great flow as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And so,
yes.
I think it's all great. And there's a lot of assistance for our veterans. And I think that's the wonderful thing. We just kind of need to it's a matter of how you massage the system and how we can improve those processes.
Thank you so much, Camille. Good update, and appreciate you running the benchmarks by us every few months, so we keep those in mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And now we'll move to an update on Deported Veterans Initiatives by Chief and Veteran of the Year, retired David Garcia. David? Mr. Garcia, I see you're online. Are you ready to give your pitch? Chief Garcia, are you out here? Interesting. Okay, Chief, I see you there. Are you on? Are you able to unmute and come up online? Okay.
Hold up. There you go. Can you hear me?
We can now, sir. You're up.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. First thing I want to begin is I'd like to thank both the BAC and the VAP leadership and members for your tremendous support on the Deported Veteran Initiative and giving me the opportunity to come and brief this presentation. But I want to apologize, Madam Chair from the VAP. I forgot to mention two important leaders from the ROPE, Repatriate Our Patron, Diane D. Vega and Ivan Ocon, that are part of this initiative. First thing I want to do is brief my statement. Go to the next slide. Greetings and good morning to all. As your El Paso Veteran of the Year, representing 54,000 plus veterans, family members, widows, with my veteran community partners advocating for our deported veterans in Ciudad Juarez, I'm sending a strong message throughout the county and the city of El Paso, Texas. For over 30 years, our deported veterans have been ignored and forgotten. Many have died in exile, waiting for repatriating to a country to become U.S. citizens, but never had the chance to enjoy the freedoms with their families or friends. Our U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Mexico cannot provide any assistance or offer them any humanitarian aid, regardless of their DD 214 honorable discharge. This is a disgrace. These deported veterans have earned the dignity, the honor, and respect by serving to defend this country like all of us have. Deported veterans that are disabled from the wounds of war are entitled to VA benefits. With no VA health care or mental care, they must pay out of pocket for doctors' visits and treatments for service-connected disabilities. This is shameful. They survive with the little they have and live in fear due to the violence in their community, like this past weekend. Deported veterans wait for repatriation back to the country. They love the United States of America. Therefore, I am a strong supporter of the Deported Veterans Initiative and join others to continue with strong advocacy in providing humanitarian assistance and awareness. Their voices will be heard and not forgotten, not ignored, or not forgotten. Next page. I want to thank these two gentlemen, the commander of GI Forum here in El Paso and Senator Cesar Blanco. These two gentlemen have been the forefront of at least recognizing that our deported veterans, they will not be forgotten. And I support them strongly. Next. The Deported Veteran Initiative platform, where it began. The American Legion for many years have fought for the injustice for these men and women who had defended the country, this country. Defended the country's freedom and served honorably to the deported, and after release and continued to this day is unacceptable, and have taken the lead on this platform and continue advocating strongly on this initiative, which they have proposed to partner up with many veterans groups and community organizations to build strength within our veteran community to support the deported veterans in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. The Repatriate, our Patriot organization, who is a strong advocate for deported veterans throughout the United States, has taken the lead in the community outreach program to support this initiative with other community partners in providing humanitarian assistance. Only their presentation will be, they would explain their mission. But I want to congratulate Texas State Senator Blanco for strong advocacy on Deported Veterans Initiative by supporting the American GI Forum, the Texas Veterans Commission, by sponsoring Texas legislation SB 886, the Citizens Assistance for Veterans Act, which has been signed into law, states on request of veterans. The Texas Veterans Commission shall evaluate the veteran citizen status in order to educate and direct the veterans in becoming the United States citizen and facilitate the veterans' naturalization process. Next. The federal legislations have been involved in the Senate and the House Representatives Congress introducing pertaining to S 3212 and HR 1182, which is a strong Congressional House bill, the Veteran Deportation Prevention and Reform Act, and also the HR 4382, Repatriate Our Patriot Act, are still awaiting for other representatives to support and co-sponsor these bills to become law. Now, with all the support and legislation on this initiative, will bring awareness to the county and the city government. With your support to amend the strategic plan, these deported veterans will never be forgotten or ignored. Next slide. These guys are my heroes. The County Veteran of the Year, I met with the County and the City Advisory Committee board members to discuss the support of this Deported Veteran Initiative. What I recommend is that the both County VAB and the VAC to support this initiative and submit their recommendations to amend and include this initiative into the strategic plan. Following recommendation is to provide assistance for deported veterans to access services in the United States, the county and the city of El Paso immediately upon being repatriated. Now I put a note that the El Paso County Strategic Plan of 2023 and 2027 on the Veterans and Military's Affairs, item 27, item 29, assisting for deported veterans to access services in the U.S. is proposed by the county administration. A favorable vote to accept item 29 to the county strategic plan will give the county and possibly the city to reach the goal 6.7 to be recognized as the veteran capital of the United States. Next slide. What can we do as a veteran community to assist our deported veterans? The support of the community and the county and the city of El Paso is very important. We are El Paso strong. Many veteran community partners and others with humble hearts have joined us to include our Border Patrol agents in a humanitarian mission, collecting donations, food, and clothing to promote a better quality of life for the deported veterans and their family they honorably deserve. Please, personally, with humble hearts, support our humanitarian mission. This is the way our elected representatives in the county and the city of El Paso can show their support and assist our deported veterans. Together, we will prevail. Thank you for your tremendous support. God bless you in the United States. Respectfully, your El Paso County Veteran of the Year. Are there any questions?
Melissa, your hand went up first.
All right, thank you, David. That was an awesome presentation. I have actually 4 questions. So my first question is, why is it that the embassy cannot assist the deported veterans?
Well, that question there, basically, there was a big meeting that I attended quite some time ago where there were some representatives from EHS and some other organizations there. My question is, why isn't the State Department part of your team? And it's right here where the State Department, which evidently controls the embassy. And if the embassies are not involved, then the U.S. consulate cannot be involved. This is shameful. It's a disgrace. But you know what? Hopefully they're working that out so they can include the State Department so that they can get the consulate involved. And it would eliminate a lot of the things that are going on with it. Like VA can go visit the consulate, your agencies can go to their consulate and help these folks out. But until that is done, our brothers over there and their families still have to struggle. And you know, Melissa, there's one thing that we have in our, what I call, we have a motto, no one behind. And we've done this with our brothers across the border. Now it's time for us to show strength and unity within our veteran community, continue this mission.
So with the Texas bill that has been passed into law, hopefully that'll help link that disconnect between the state and the embassy.
Well, you know, I mean, with this law right here, it basically what they're doing is trying to help these guys, educate them how to file. I don't think there's any funding involved. I really don't know. But I think more or less that if the state pushes it forward to the State Department in Washington, D.C., maybe it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the deported veterans can reach out to the TVC for assistance?
I believe so. I don't really know because it's a fairly new law, and what Texas Veterans Commission is going to take to better the program. Until that comes out, then we would know, because I know the county will follow their lead. And to put a note, I forgot to mention that the county already has a proposed strategy plan for their 2023, 2027 to include it into their strategic plan. But right now it's just proposed, which hopefully when I do my presentation to the county commissioner and the judge, I will include that for a favorable vote.
Okay. And how many deported veterans are there currently?
Right now, we have one gentleman, Ivan Ocon, which is the NCOIC of the bunker. He was repatriated back as a U.S. citizen July 7th. He's now living in Las Cruces, but he's still in charge of the bunker, receiving our humanitarian donations that we sent over to them because there is needed. It's about maybe 20, I could probably say about 30, but there's 8 families out there. And, you know, they have children. So we try to take care of their family.
Thank you, David.
Well,
Rodney, please.
Yes, hey Chief, how you doing? It was good seeing you the other day, sir, and I loved your presentation, and it was good speaking with you. I'm sorry, my audio was a little bit choppy, so I'm not sure, sir, if you spoke on this, but as the VAC, what would you like for us to do with this initiative?
well, the action I like for the VAC to do is take this presentation to your council representative and show them what we are trying to do so that they can have the conversation with those who have a means to help. It's very important that they're also what you can do is educate. I mean, you being prior military yourself, you know your motto. The thing is now stepping up to the plate, taking action, making sure your representative understand that this initiative is very important. And hopefully, like I stated before, El Paso, if working together, we will be the veteran capital of the United States. Not only that, but if it's included into your strategic plan, we will be the first city and county in the state and the United States to support this initiative.
Yes, Chief, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, team. Any other questions before we close?
Thank
Hey,
you.
Chief.
Thank
Again, from Lance, it was great to see you earlier in the week, and I appreciate your efforts on behalf of this, and the VAC will take this up and we'll take up your initiative. Mr. Albright, your hands up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that myself and Nicole Farini from Community and Human Development have just been reached out by Representative Joe Molinar on the Veterans Initiative. So we have a meeting scheduled for next week. Jonathan Bohannon, I'm going to try to loop you into that meeting as well so that you're a part of it. So the city's aware of it. We're going to start looking at how we can help. Last week I had a meeting with the president of the Community Foundation, El Paso Community Foundation, and I put this on her radar. So she's looking across different platforms that are here in El Paso to see how we can help as well. So we're trying to get ahead of this, and we understand the severity of it, and we're going to see what we can do to provide assistance.
I have one more statement before you close there, Sergeant Major.
Go ahead.
I received an email from the National Volunteer Outreach Program for the GI Forum. They also were at the briefing, and they took interest, and they're going to pass it on to their headquarters in San Antonio. So this movement is growing, and with their help, with all my brothers and sisters in this panel, with your help, we can make things happen. And I really appreciate everybody's support. I know my term as Veteran of the Year is coming up. It's almost over, but I'm going to continue this fight until I can't no more. God bless everybody, and have a good Friday.
Thank you. Hey, team, is my video or my audio very bad?
Hear you loud and clear. Charlie.
Okay. Jiminy Christmas. I'm having more
Actually
problems.
sounds pretty good right now, Lance. It's not too bad.
Okay. So we'll move on. Thanks, Chief. Again, we'll move on to discussion and action on the timeline for the presentation to council. Everybody should see the slides are due the 7th, and then the slides go to the briefs to the city manager, and then we'll have a presentation rehearsal on the 21st of October and 24th of October presentation to council. Does anybody have issues with that timeline, or is there anything we need to talk about for our presentation? And we'll cover that a little more when we talk about when we have the subcommittee chairs update. Okay, so since there's no discussion, if we're good with the discussion and action, Mr. Albright, do we need to vote this in for the timeline, or can we just go with what's there?
We can move on. There's no discussion, so it's obviously accepted. I'd move on.
Okay. All right, number 10, subcommittee chairs. So before we start this brief, sorry about the time lag, but we've had some excellent discussions today. Hopefully it's not keeping you from anything. I would just say that subcommittee chairs, probably a meeting, maybe 2 meetings to prepare your input. I'll put it all together and send it back through Paul, through the subcommittee chairs to be added to the slide deck. So I'll put it all together for you, but I need your clear and concise input. And Mr. Albright will send out a slide deck, a slide deck that we can use as a basis. So with that, Mr. Beagle, employment on update, sir.
Hey, well, right now, obviously, we're getting ready for the presentation to City Council. And just an FYI, if you slip it much past October 24th, somebody else will have to brief it for me. But key concerns are basically the same, but some of the recommendations we've talked about, we're working on. For an example, getting a class on why you should hire veterans that we can broadly disseminate. Rodney has taken the lead on this and pulled together from DOL and TBC and a lot of different organizations to make sure we have a good, comprehensive, but to the point class for that. So right now, that's one of our major focuses, so we can push it out, not just to the hiring managers in the city. We can give it to SHRM, we can give it to the chamber, et cetera, to push out to the employers. So that is our current drive and focus. I will be back after the 13th of September, and I will get with Laura and Rodney on when we can get together, and I'll have an outline for you, and we'll go from there.
Excellent. Thank you, Bruce. I have no problem being involved as well. If there's any help that I can give, please let me know.
Thank you, Lance.
And we'll move on to Melissa and the Homelessness Initiative. Melissa, how are you doing?
Feeling good. All right, so at our last meeting, we had invited Abraham from Economic Development to discuss the concerns we have brought up regarding the reversal of Roe v. Wade and its potential effects on veterans. So I created like a short white paper. I can have Paul send that out to you all, because I do think that this is going to affect sometime down the line employment, homelessness, and quite possibly marketing. So we discussed that with Abraham, and he's going to look into the data and get in touch with other organizations, homeless organizations, and see how much data do we have on, female veterans and military families who have had to reach out due to an addition of a family or something related. And that was pretty much the basis of our discussion. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions? Okay, so Melissa, again, reemphasize meetings, probably 2 between now and October 1st, so that we can put together our briefing and then have all the data in there that we want to brief for actions going forward. And that goes for each of the subcommittees. You know, we need to get this. I'm available anytime. Just give me a call. Send me what you got. If you want any input, you know, we'll make this happen, and we'll give a good quality brief. So we'll move on to Rodney for marketing and outreach. Rodney, how are you, sir?
I'm blessed. How you doing today, Lance? You good?
Doing well, sir.
All right. So hello, team. I hope everybody's having a good Friday so far. I'm going to try to get through some of this as quickly as possible, but informative. Okay, so I've been brainstorming. I've been talking with Jonathan, and I've been talking with other individuals on what we can do in marketing outreach to be of more assistance to the El Paso community. Now, first, I want to give a big shout out to Tiffany for getting the billboards out passed, and now they're set up throughout El Paso. I spoke to Paul about this, I think a week or two ago, that at the other hiring or resource fair, I did go around and I was asking people if they knew about the billboards or if they knew about our committee and questions like that, just to get an assessment. And unfortunately, a lot of people did not know about the billboards or knew about our committee. So what I'm asking for is that I need a little bit of help, input from everybody on this committee as to what we can do to try to get our committee more visibility out there. I had some ideas, but one of the things is that if we have the billboards, I did go to the website and I noticed that with the Sun City Bliss, the Sun City Bliss still shows November of 2021. So I'm putting myself in the customer's seat as, okay, if you're telling me, Rodney, to go to this website, then why isn't it current? If you're telling me the billboards are out there and you're saying, hey, go to this link, go to this website, why isn't it current? So I'm wondering what we can, so we need to do better at that. And I know, Paul, you said that, someone like myself can't have access to that, but I'm again asking respectfully if maybe I could have access to help bring things up to speed until you get someone in that position that can take care of that. I see your hands raised, Paul. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so when I explained in the last meeting, and I'll explain again, is that the website was frozen in time and we were not able to make updates to it. I was at the end of the fiscal year and the money had to be spent or it was going to be lost. So I had to pull the trigger, even though it was on a non-updated website. So I just want to make everybody understand that that's clear, that the only reason the website is not updated is because it was frozen in time for so long. I do have a meeting with our IT folks next week and our PIO to get after it and start updating everything. So we're getting after it now. But the only reason that you see that it is so far behind is because I had to pull the trigger or we lost that money.
Roger that. Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that. And also, I was looking at the website. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see the links to the other districts that is on there. And I don't know, Paul, maybe you can answer that too, sir. I was looking around. Maybe I missed it, but if it's not on there, is there a way that we can have those districts links on the website so that people again can have more access to what's going on in their area?
Yeah, so what you mean is
the district
the district, are you talking about links to the different districts in the Veteran Affairs Advisory Committee? So like when you click on Veteran Affairs Advisory Committee, you go down and you click on the different districts?
Yes, sir. Like if I want to check up on what's happening in District 3, I'm on the Veteran Resource site. Okay, so for like my district, okay, what's happening with Cassandra Hernandez? What is she doing in my area? What's happening? So yes, I was wondering if we can have something like that. I didn't see it, but like I said, that could have been on me.
I don't think that exists, but it's a great idea. So Rodney, Laura Cruz Acosta, the Strategic Communications Director, sent me an email, said that she's available next Friday for a meeting. I think what's important is for me, you and Laura to get together next Friday. And I think I would like to have you in my meeting next week also with IT so that we can sit down and just create this thing all together at once.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, Paul. And the idea, I'm also looking into us having some swags. With all these different events that are going on, stand downs, things like that. I mean, it'd be great for us to be able to get VAC out there. So I'm thinking, what about the idea of us all having shirts and with our names and, the district that we represent, and maybe we can get either action pictures of us or just regular pictures of us that we could put on these billboards that people can know, hey, this is the rep for that district. For more information, go to the City of El Paso website to learn more about what's going on in your district. I'm just brainstorming right now while I'm talking to you, but I'm thinking that might be a good idea. If we could get some swags, get some funding for it. But we need to definitely make a strong push to get out there and put things on our tables to be able to expose us more. Go ahead, Paul.
So we'll take a look at that. My only concern is when you talk swag, I understand the swag would be it's a marketing aspect. So with the cost of the billboards, we just have to look and make sure that we are spending the taxpayers' money fiscally responsible. So if we did get shirts and things like that, we just got to make sure that we're doing the marketing the best possible. And then if there's money left over, we can get polo shirts and things, and it helps from a marketing aspect. I understand it.
Yes, sir. Now I'm with you, Paul, that I want to make El Paso the #1 military-friendly city in Texas and in the United States. But we definitely need some help. I don't know, and I don't know how it was before I came to the seat, so excuse me, but I'm wondering how come we're not getting more help from the TV and radio stations, maybe public service announcements or things like that. Well, how come they're not more involved when we have hiring fairs, hiring red, white, and use, just having them there and having more of a presence in the military community. I don't No offense, but I don't want to sit there and watch the news and hear about the fire department took a cat out of a tree. I don't care about that. Okay. I'm worried about the veterans. So why are we not having more of them involved to say, hey, do you know that there's a hiring red, white, and you going on? Hey, do you know that there's a resource event coming up? Hey, do you know that there's a homeless stand down that's going on? And if you want to contribute, this is how you do it. How come there's not more of a interaction and more involvement? If we're trying to be #1, then why are we not having more support from the radio stations and TV stations to make sure that we are included more often in their programs?
Many of those that you just mentioned are not city initiatives. And those other organizations should be the ones responsible for making sure that they get their event publicized. When we use city resources are tied to your taxpayer funds. So I'm not going, and I'm not allowed to, the city attorney would advise against it. If I took a TVC event and paid $1,000 for radio ads to sponsor a TVC event or a Veterans One-Stop event. So that it's not going to happen. But whenever there's a city event, we can do more. But we have to ensure that when we're talking to the other organizations that have events, we'll do our best to share it for the means that we already have. But we have to say, hey, have you put out press releases to the news media? And then I think it goes back to you and to your city council representatives that say, hey, news, why do you guys choose to do the media about removing a cat from a tree and not talk about Team Red, White, and You hiring fair, which is going on? Right.
Yes, sir. Which I guess ties into the next thing I had on the list about the text messages. I get these text messages from Beto O'Rourke about, hey, do you want to join us for this? Do you want to join us for that? And I don't recall ever showing up, signing up for anything to get his text message, but they seem to always show up on my phone. So I was just asking the question about that too. Is that something that we are allowed to do as far as, hey, sending out text messages to the city of El Paso to say, hey, everybody, there's this hiring red, white, and you event that's coming up. Opt out if you're not interested, but hey, everybody, we're sending out the text messages to you to let you know what's going on.
Well, if Workforce Borderplex Solution, who's doing the Team Red, White, and You hiring fair, pays to get that service done, then it can happen.
Okay, so that's something else then. All right.
So Rodney,
then I guess,
Rodney, we're running real late.
Okay, then I'm good for now.
Can we, you and I and Bruce and Melissa, we need to sit down and talk. We'll set that up because I think there's a lot of ideas out there, and many of them can be submitted and then just shut down if the city doesn't want to do it. But I'm on your team here.
Thanks, Paul.
So I'm on the team as well, and I would like to be a part of that meeting along with our strategic communications team so that we can come up with a plan together. Right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Lance.
Rodney, that's excellent. I love the passion. Thank you, sir. We'll I'm just trying to, we're already like 7 minutes over. So
yes, sir.
I do want to, before we go to the VAC meeting, I'd like Laura, who has to drop off. She wants to say something. Laura, please.
I do.
Well, I didn't know if you did or not, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
You're putting me on the spot, Lance.
I'm so sorry.
You can handle it, Laura.
No, it can wait until the next meeting.
Excellent. Okay. So we'll move to, thanks, Laura. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. So we've had some discussions about changing the regularly scheduled VAC meeting. This is item number 11. So go ahead and let's discuss that. And I think Bruce, I'm not sure if you brought this up last meeting. I can't remember if the minutes say it or not, but I think you have a lead on this.
That is correct. We were discussing the possibility of moving it to another date or day rather. And it would seem that it was kind of a 50-50 split. And Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, Tuesday would not work because of the council meetings. So it left us with, I believe, Wednesday is the most viable choice other than Friday. So we want to pursue this, or would you rather just leave it the way it is, I guess is the question for the group.
Yeah, that's, I mean, since I'm a consultant, I have the ability to move my schedule, but people with regular day jobs, if that's an impact, we need discussion on this. If we want to change it, we want to discuss it, and we want to try and make it the best day possible for as many as we can. So what do people think about Wednesdays?
I'm good with Wednesdays.
Okay, that's 2 for Wednesdays. Laura is shaking the head. That's not a good day for Laura. Okay. Bruce?
It's good for me.
Okay. Justin?
Yeah, I'm good any day as long as it's around this time.
Excellent. Jonathan?
It's not good for me.
Okay. Rodney? You said yes, right?
Yes, but Lance, quick question around what time, sir? Because I do go to Veterans Court on Wednesdays.
We have, well, I don't think we changed the time. We didn't talk about changing the time. We talked about the day.
Okay.
Because the time seems to work. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. That's fine with me, sir.
Mr. Albright?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I can read the minutes from last discussion on what we talked about from the last meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is what we put. We said days that are not available are Wednesday due to multiple city meetings, Mondays due to county commissioners court, Tuesdays may be available as long as it's every other, because it's every third Tuesday. We might just have to deconflict due to city council. Melissa would like to keep it on Fridays. Rodney would like Thursday. Justin is good any day of the week as long as it is in the morning. Jonathan would like to keep it the same, and Ron would like to keep it the same. And then Bruce stated we'll wait for Laura and Lance's input. Any decision that has that will be made has to be deconflicted through the city clerk's office. There are multiple commissions and committees that meet throughout the month. So I hope that helps put perspective in where we're at right now.
Holy moly, that's way too hard to figure out right now. Do we have a list of city meetings and when they happen that we can ship out to everybody so we can try and look at the day that would be best suited?
Yes, yeah. What I'll do is I'll send that out and I'll try to find holes in the schedule to allow you guys to make a decision.
Yeah, I'm looking at yeah, I didn't want to comment on the minutes because I wasn't there, but I'm seeing what you said. Okay.
Well, I recommend just look at the morning. Obviously, that seems to be, if, look at whatever days that have a time slot in the morning and people can put in their input and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Make sense?
I'll send that to the city clerk right now and ask them to find me a hole and see what we can give you.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Division of Veteran and Military Affairs update. Number 12.
Yeah, due to time, I'm only going to quickly just say that we're submitting 3 grants right now, defense grants. 2 of them are for infrastructure around the new William Beaumont. As you know, there's only one entryway into William Beaumont. That's off of Spur 601. Anything happens to that, then there's no access. We're also submitting another one for the a dedicated water line that goes out to McGregor Range. So that'll be done by El Paso Water. And we actually have another grant that we're getting ready to submit, which would be an FTA grant from Sun Metro to fund a new bus line directly to the William Beaumont Medical Center. So those are the grants that are going in right now to support our military. And we've covered a lot of other things in veterans, so I won't go into any further than that. Please visit the Facebook page for all of the events that's going on. All right.
Excellent. Thank you. The grant for the bus route, that's a big one. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Announcements. We know about Red, White, and You, but if you want to pounce on it, go ahead. Excellent. Okay. So agenda items for next meeting. Does anybody
Quick pounce on the Red, White, and You. It's going to be on the 15th at the Coliseum, 9 to 1. Thanks.
Okay, so agenda items. Does anybody have an agenda item specific for discussion and action so that we can get it on there? Of course, you know, we can add it up to as long as it's cleared, you know, by the city clerk, we can add it up to right before the meeting, the week before. So you don't have to jump on now. If you have a discussion item, you can. Any items to add? Okay, we'll probably add the young lady that wants to talk on the Deported Veterans Initiative to that, so that we can get her in here, and I'll send it to her myself. Our next VAC meeting is September 16th at 10 a.m. and still virtual. Don't ask me why, I get it, but it's still virtual. And so look for that link if we haven't already got it. I have links, Paul, that you sent out for like 2 or 3 months, but for somehow they get so far down on my email, I don't see them. So I would just recommend for tech unsavvy folks like me, resend those each time you send out. That helps me find it easier. And with that, unless there are any final comments, we'll adjourn only 15 minutes late. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, team. I'm sorry about my camera. I have been having problems with Teams. I'm going to have to put a clean install in or something. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your passion for veterans. Rodney, you, Melissa, and Bruce and I will make sure that we get together. And we'll chart the course for this brief. And with that, I'll adjourn the meeting and thank you so much for your assistance each and every day to our veterans and our service members. Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.